Bunch of people here already. Hey guys, let me see. How do I try to? The second here, guys. Hey guys, just one sec. I'm just getting stuff set up. I'm a little early, about 6 minutes. Hey, how's it going, man? Stay here. Just got to do something real quick. All right, there we go. Now I can type in chat. Cool. I'm working. Oh, what the heck? Why is it doing that? One sec here, guys. I'm getting a weird message about having to sign in to type in chat, which is really stupid. I don't know why it's doing that. One sec here. Up the volume? Oh, you know what? This is probably going to help. This is going to help. How about this? Is that better? That better? Can you guys hear me? Hopefully. Let's see here. Yeah. One sec. I'm trying to make it to where I can type in chat. It's being weird. Tell me I have to sign in. Like, what the heck is that about? Oh, sometimes security is awesome and horrific all at the same time. Just 1 second here. All right, good, good. I'm glad it's working. All right. Let's see. Just 1 sec here. I'm trying to figure out why this isn't letting me get in here to chat. All set. All right, maybe now I can actually type in my own chat. No, it still doesn't do it. It's so weird. All right, I'll just have to do this a little bit different. I'll have to. 1 sec. I'm trying to get this to where I can see chat since it's not working on my main display. Let's see if I can type into here instead. Never had this happen before. Yeah, there you go. Cool. That'll work. Hey, how's Germany today? Oh, hey, that's kind of cool. All right, that'll work. All right, hopefully this is in line with chat. Yeah, it is. Okay, sweet. All right, I think we're close to getting ready. Let me just send something real quick on X. You know what? Forget it. We're good. Let's just start from here. I think we can get going. All right, hopefully you can see my screen well. I've got account specific information, so I don't like to zoom in too much on this one or mess around with it. But today actually has been a blessing. Oh, and it got even better. It's hard to know with options. They take like the last half an hour of the day, they can kind of fluctuate a little bit as people are settling. So far, it looks like my losses for the day across all my accounts are under 50 grand. And I am stoked about that considering how bad PayPal was. You can see it in the middle of the screen here. Kind of a brutal day. Got hit pretty hard. Are you guys still there? I'm just trying to make sure chat's still working. Can somebody say something just so I can make sure that you're still around? That we haven't dropped or something weird. I'm going to type hello. A little weird. It's too quiet. Oh, okay, still good. Okay, good, good. It got too quiet. I'm not perfect at this yet, so I just got to make sure things are still working. Okay, there we're coming. Okay, sweet. All right, so yeah, PayPal. PayPal was brutal. I apologize for anybody that got into this options trade, man. It's yesterday was rough. I did not think that Alex and the CFO were going to be so much downers in the call, and literally just like repeating the same things that they talked about in previous, like the merchant video, and then again just kind of a recorded message for the first part. It's pretty normal, but even the Q&A wasn't great, and I think they were really trying to sandbag what's coming. I think they must have realized that they screwed up with shocking the world, and so they decided to do the exact opposite and shock the world in the other direction, and they succeeded. I think though that this will be a good washout. All the people jumping out of these calls, I didn't look at the 2026s today. I'm imagining they had some influx from people that were rolling over and getting out of these. I personally leaned into it. It was down about 55% today on the calls, and I put like, I don't know, 50,000 in total. I think like 20 in stock, and then another 30 in calls for good measure. So if this thing bounces, I'm already up like almost 10% from where it dropped, so on the purchases that I made today. So if it goes up, great. If it doesn't, whatever. Again, when I went into this with, it's an asymmetric bet. I can get 10x returns. I can still get those. Right now, if we rebound and get up to the 100 to 104 range in the next 4 to 6 months with the purchases I made today, so an 80% increase roughly in the stock price, I make 2.5 to like $1.4 million. So I'm not out of the game yet. I do have like almost 400,000 into this though, so it's a lot more than I originally intended. It's like 2/3 of the money I made on Palantir last year. So that part kind of sucks. I'm over allocated compared to what I want to be, and normally above my standards. But in my own defense, I never at any given time went over 15% of my portfolio. So again, still asymmetric upside. Might cut my losses sooner on some of these, or I should say dial out if we get a good bounce. I actually think the stock could bounce. I'll go over that in a little bit. Yeah, miners are doing so great. Anyway, I just wanted to show this. Today was a great day. What saved me today, as some of you might know, again, diversification is key. FinTech was sweet to me today because it looks like we're getting market breadth. So we're actually seeing that SoFi did really well today, up 5.5%. We're seeing Rivian did well today. I actually made some money on Rivian, which is funny. Riot, Bitcoin miners, the market breadth and everything was just great today. And so that helped out immensely. And again, you can see where I led into PayPal. These are the only purchases I made today. I sold some TLT to get here. And I got pretty good deals, 40 cents, 41, 42 cents on the contracts. And right now they're like at 46. All right, moving on real quick, and I'll get to questions at the end too, and go through a bunch of stuff. But if you guys have like any emergency reporting or something I'm missing, definitely throw it out there. New Zealand, that would be a great place to go. That's awesome. So inflation didn't really change much, at least per Truflation. Let's skip it. Market breadth. I want to refresh this real quick and then zoom in a little bit. So the good thing about this is the big boys are losing today, or just remaining. The ones that have run, like, you know, Verizons and Apples and Amazons and Nvidias, and like a lot of the big dogs didn't really benefit from today, and that's not a bad sign. And then ones that have been beaten up, again, like FinTech and Tesla and a bunch of others, did all right, and the Russell did really good too. So we like to see that. We like to see market breadth. We like to see expansion. I don't know. I think we might have hit, I got to check the S&P here. It was a crazy day. We might have actually gotten pretty high. Let me actually do that real quick next. Nope, we didn't break 5K. So we're at strong resistance. I'm a little worried heading into tomorrow, just because of the fact we've got some bearish divergence on the RSI here. We've got some of that on the MACD. And then at the same time, we're just grinding higher on the S&P and the NASDAQ and the Russell. Russell's finally getting a bid. So I worry a little bit that we might retrace. We'll see what happens. All right, economic data. Initial jobless claims, continuing jobless claims, 4-week average. All that stuff was good. Nothing crazy in here. Pretty average, pretty boring. When you look at the pandemic, it's not even noticeable. That data set just needs to be removed. It just skews everything. Wholesale inventories. We're starting to accumulate inventory. That's the first time in a while. So that's actually kind of interesting. I didn't post about this today, but you'll see where we had inventories dropping a bunch. And then the pandemic came and they just skyrocketed. And then we went back down. And roughly, I'd say we bottomed in about June of last year. So about when the stock market peaked, we bottomed. And then we started to go back up. And then we had more inventory over the holidays. And now we're going back up and establishing more greater inventories. That's going to be interesting to see if that keeps growing and why. We don't want to see too much inventory because then you stop seeing purchasers purchasing, and then that starts to drag on profits for companies. So we'll see what happens. So definitely something to keep an eye on. Not much else on here for today. It was kind of boring. Nothing really that interesting. 30 and 15-year mortgage rates are pretty much fixed. They're just hovering right at the bottom. We need to see some actual changes in rates to make it to where that's going to be better. Industrials, we started to see a few things going up today. Uranium was getting a bid. Energy sector was getting a bid. So we are seeing some of that. And we could see that too in oil. Oil, despite what I've been predicting, has been climbing higher. I still think it's going to fail when we get to this 50 moving average on the weekly, this purple line. And or when we get up here, I think it's going to reject and start going down. But it'll be interesting to see if it can recover here. I just don't think that there's enough global demand right now. Again, I've got this whole concept of China's exporting deflation to the world, and they could be for a decade, and that should suppress these prices and keep them from going too high. S&P we talked about. Let me just look here. I'm just going to look at the NDX. So we did get another high today on the S&P. That's cool. And then let's see if we did the same thing here. It's kind of hard to see because they're just baby highs. Yep, we got another high on the NASDAQ. Let's see here. What's the RUT look like? Russell, it was screaming. So when you compare these, the Russell actually did really good. And that makes me happy. I want to see market breadth. So that actually makes me really happy. That's good stuff. PayPal thoughts. I got thoughts about PayPal. We'll talk about that a little bit further down here. I'm trying to do macro first and then kind of work my way towards that stuff. All right, so regionals didn't do that great. I'm not going to talk about regionals anymore, though. And the reason I'm not going to talk about it is that I don't think anybody cares. I was listening to some bankers talk today. First off, we know the Fed's backed all these banks, right? At least the ones they want to save. And then I was listening to another banking official, a part of some kind of bankers organization across the country. He said that we have too many banks. He said maybe 20, 30 banks in a region, but he said there's just a massive number of banks. And I don't know where you guys live, but there's like a bank on every other block where I live, and that's crazy. So I'm having to agree with these guys. I think that we're going to see more bank consolidation. I think that this is almost planned by the Fed. Like, they're okay with this. That's one of my thoughts about rates and why they're I've been trying to think, like, why aren't they just lowering rates? Why are they putting pressure on these banks? I think some of them, they want consolidation and they don't care. And they know they've got deflation coming, and they're going to ride that train for as long as they can until they think that they're breaking something, or hopefully before, because I don't want to break something. I want, when they're lowering rates, I want the narrative to be a positive one. So hopefully that's what happens. Real quick. Yeah, so let me hear. I'm going to jump through a couple of stocks. So I did call today in a couple of posts that I think that we're topping in Palantir. There was a massive sell wall, about $25 million. Somebody or a few somebodies can see that the volume peak that was up here, and just that nice, round number of 25, and they're holding it back. And we still have bearish divergence down here on the RSI and the MACD and the weekly, and we're oversold or overbought, I should say, on the weekly with Palantir. And it's so, like, there's just a bunch of things that are keeping this near its price. Also, the PE ratio is like 270. So I don't know if any of you actually care about valuations, but that's not a good one at all, and it's not something that you want to have your ratio be at. So it's a bad sign, and it means that we're probably toppy. And these are the times where I usually, like, somebody was saying this in one of the chats, I was talking about trimming a little bit here. Trimming is good. You can see where we're underneath the volume, but you could also do covered calls or something like that. You could do something where you're making some kind of income at the same time, where you could buy more shares as we grind. But I think we're going to grind. So I'm sorry, but that is what it is. Volume's a little low. Let me get closer. I will get closer. All right. And then let me know if that's not good enough. And then SoFi. SoFi I'm excited about today. SoFi, we got above the .618. And so we're actually starting to establish some support. We've got all the volume underneath of us. It's just a good sign. I think people decided to target PayPal. So because everybody's hunting PayPal right now and trash talking PayPal. Maybe SoFi got a break, and with that, it can actually start to go higher. I want to point out some stuff here that I don't know that I've talked about in other videos that are really important. I'm going to reference this with Palantir and SoFi to show you exactly how this works on two different charts on different ends of the spectrum. So with Palantir, look at the volume. Look at the volume on this weekly candle. It is the highest peak ever in the history of this company. This is a technical thing you have to understand. When was the last time we had the highest peak? It was right over here. That marked the top, right? Or close to it, right? And now we just had the highest peak here again. Now there's a chance, and you can see some of this down at the bottom too, like this capitulation wick down here. Peaks in volume that are record-breaking are usually signs of overbought or oversold conditions. And so when we know that we're already overbought on the RSI and that the MACD is looking stretched and that we're seeing the highest volumes in the history of the company on the weekly time frame, then it's probably smart to trim or do covered calls. And again, if we look at this on the daily, again, record-breaking amount of volume. So everything is screaming that it is smart to either do covered calls or trim this portfolio, or just be okay with it not going anywhere for a while. I definitely don't want to hear people bitching about this not going anywhere in the Palantir community. I love Palantir. I think it's a great company. I think it's one of the best out there. But if it trades sideways for like 3 months or 6 months before S&P inclusion, and S&P inclusion could bring this, it could ruin the technicals on this and make it go higher. That can happen. But I can tell you a 270 PE ratio is not normal, and the technicals want to draw this down. So if it does stay sideways, don't bitch. It's what you signed up for. All right. So the other part, volume again. So again, with SoFi here, we've got peak volume over here, the second highest weekly volume ever in the history of this company. You can see where the other one was way over here. These are like, again, capitulation or just exuberance phases, right? Now, we know that we've got some bullish divergence on SoFi that goes back a long ways, like back to April of 2022, so a year and a half ago. So the fact that we saw this capitulation on the weekly is probably a really good sign. We're above the .618, and we did a great job staying above what was previous resistance. We didn't even go, like, we just touched it for a second and then just took off. So I love the SoFi chart. I think it's going to look really good. I'm excited for what comes next. Thanks for your work. Thanks, guys. I appreciate that. Some days are better than others. I don't like to see people lose money, including myself. I actually like making money too, contrary to popular belief. I do. All right. I wanted to touch on PayPal real quick. I wanted to go through this for anybody that might not have seen the post. I won't go through it word by word, but I did want to talk about why this company is in great shape, I think, going forward, despite a really underwhelming Q4. Now, 1, they laid off 9% of their workforce, so their OPEX is going down. 2, Ace recognized in the call that the mobile app is not great. It's not intuitive. It's not efficient. He's kind of alluded to this before, and he's working on it. That was one of my biggest complaints coming into this call is it's like there's 7 different options for sending money, and those have sub-windows too. And just trying to find the QR code to pay somebody at a grocery store took me 15 minutes to try and get that to work, only to find out that even though it said it was supposed to work, it didn't work and the managers couldn't figure out why. That sucks. So whether it's online, mobile, whatever, they got to fix that stuff. And the thing I liked about this call was that they said they're already focusing on single platform. They're looking to consolidate the Venmo and PayPal silos. I used to be somebody who helped manage a team for a mobile app for my previous employer. And before that, I was a manager and then an account executive for our biggest customer for a company that did software for urgent cares. So I know a little bit about software, okay? And I can tell you that what they're doing right now and what they've done in 4 months, where they said that they fixed reporting issues and got it to where all that stuff is in one place now, and again, breaking down silos, getting it to where they're able to increase, reduce costs, reduce workforce, increase engineering velocity. Like, these are the things you want to do. This is great stuff. And for the companies I've worked for and the companies we worked with, None of them moved as quick as what Alex is doing right now. So I'm going to give this guy another quarter and give him a break and let him do his job. And if you look real quick, I'm going to do a quick segue here because there's something else you got to see. So I think I posted it. This is Alex Chris, okay? This is Alex Chris's employment history at Intuit, okay? So during his tenure in 19 years with that company, the stock price went up 3,400% because this man focuses on process and innovation and refinement. So when he tells you he's going to do it, there's a pretty good track record that he's probably going to do it. I just wanted to throw that out there real quick. So let's get back to this so I can rant a little bit more. I'm in a mood. All right. Focused on removing data silos. Again, they've got all the reporting in one place. That's cool. All great. Focusing on quicker, easier payment access using biometrics like facial recognition and thumbprint. That's so needed. Nobody wants to sit even online and have to try and find their password or pull up a password manager and try and figure out how to get logged in. Nobody has time for that anymore. If you can't just swipe your thumb or look at something and pay a bill, like nobody wants to deal with it. So it's smart that they're doing these things. Fastlane. Nobody cares about this. Nobody cared about the merchant video, right? Nobody like, oh, hey, he didn't shock the world. Well, he actually did a great job. He showed that how they're going to simplify guest checkout, where you can put in your email address and then you're done, and you're done with the check-in process with them, and that works cross-platform across all of the vendors out of the 25% of e-commerce that these guys do. So even if you never really sign up, it'll use that email as like authentication and allow you to be able to start a payment process more effectively across merchants in the future. And I think that is cool stuff. And again, like BigCommerce, I think is the one that they said was using this, and they've got a 70% conversion rate, which is like industry leading. This is good stuff. Now, they have a massive data transactional set, this company. They've got 25% of e-commerce. That data is worth a fortune. This is the kind of stuff that Meta makes a fortune off of. So when we talk about them already increasing their margins in this Q4 earnings, which is great and unexpected, I think Tanner thought that was happening from Future Investing, but most people didn't. I didn't even expect that to happen. I actually thought it was going to still be lower. I was looking for metrics to be lower, and they exceeded all my expectations really across the board in the earnings. It was just the guidance people are getting hung up on. But again, when you have the ability to be able to track customers across all over the web and everywhere that they spend, because 25% of the e-commerce comes through you, and you can follow them down to the SKU, and you can allow merchants to be able to say, hey, if people have bought these products before, even if I've never worked with them before, I want to advertise to them. That's incredibly valuable. That's going to make this company a bunch of money. I don't understand why people don't know that, but it will. It'll increase the purchase rate. It'll increase transactions. It'll increase revenues. So if you haven't figured this stuff out yet, start actually focusing on what they're doing. Cashback rewards. So they'll be able to, because they can charge lower fees, they'll be able to, and they're going to work with merchants, and merchants are going to pay them more just to be able to have access to increasing their revenue. Because once you can start spending higher revenue, people will pay you more. If you don't believe that, like look at Palantir, look at Meta, look at a bunch of places where because you can make them more money, they're like, hey, we'll pay a little bit more. We don't care. And so they're going to be able to do that too, and they'll be able to give people greater rewards. So they'll be incentivizing customers while at the same time incentivizing merchants. I think it's all brilliant. Alex told us, give me a couple of weeks to months. We're working on all this stuff, and we're looking to push it out and then work on focusing on adoption. I think that's great. Now, PYUSD, they didn't talk about their stablecoin. Wish they would have. I don't feel like they were selling enough inside of this earnings report. I also wish they would have said, like, hey, we're going to do $6 billion, $7 billion in buybacks. They should have let them know. They could have set everything else. They could have set expectations low. They could have set, for their EPS for 2024 low. They could have done all of that and still at the same time made people excited because they were excited and they can see that it's the bottom of the stock price. They could have done more with that. And I wish they would have talked about the stable coin. I think in the future, this is going to allow them to be able to do transactions way less than the 2 to 3% that these credit card companies like to charge. America is behind when it comes to paying. There is no reason why we pay 2 to 3%, or I should say the merchants pay 2 to 3% to get people's money. They don't have to do that. That will change in the future. I think this could be part of it. And I think it'll be one of the leaders in it. And I've made a bet that I think that these guys will be a top 3 stable coin in the world by the end of this Bitcoin cycle. That's what I'm expecting. All right. They're talking about expanding into international markets. They said that during the call because there are larger profit margins there. I think that's brilliant. That's what they should be doing. There could be positive tailwinds that somebody asked a question about the NFC chips, the Apple lawsuits, and yeah, they didn't really respond too well to this, but that could actually benefit them too as well. I don't know if they just didn't want to get into legalities of it or don't want to talk about it. I don't know, but that could benefit them. So again, that could be a tailwind. The CFO talked about the fact that they have just a cluttering in their business and they need to get rid of a bunch of it. You might look at that as a negative for somebody bringing that up on a call, but I actually think the CFO should be focused on that stuff. I've never liked a CFO who isn't focused on making the company leaner. So I love that they're trying to get rid of parts of the business that aren't profitable. And I'm sorry I'm going off on a rant about PayPal, but I just want to get it out there. All right. So again, the earnings report, let's just roll through that real quick. Margins, higher. Transactions per account, higher. Revenues, higher. Total payment volumes, higher. Cash position, larger than it's been. Take rate, higher. Number of payment transactions, higher. Buyback, at least $5 billion or more, which is higher. Expectations set for low 2024 EPS. Gives them room to exceed expectations. This company is at an 80, it might even be 82% down from its high 2 years ago, 2.5 years ago. So almost 3 if you look at the double top that appeared in the chart, back then. So I am going to pull a roaring kitty here and say I like the stock. And I'm sorry if people sold out because they don't have conviction. You should do better research. You need to know what you own. You need to know if there's value. You need to know how far you're going to go. You need to know how options work. I literally have a video about it that shows you a calculator where you can see if you're going to make money or lose it. It's as visual as it gets. Watch the video. I'll put it at the end of this. But take responsibility for your actions. That's what I got to tell people. And know what you're invested in. It's not my responsibility for you to know it. I will try and help you to understand that. But I learned a long time ago, you can bring a horse to water, but you can't make them drink. I learned that being a manager of a support department. I learned how human beings work, and there's only so much you can do to get people to do things. And I know this. My daughter is not much different than my employees were before too. And I could do all kinds of things to try and incentivize her. But in the end, she's the one who's got to get it done. So make things happen. Grow as a person. Learn from other people. Don't make them accountable for your actions. All right, I'm done. That's my rant. Let's move on. Sorry about that. All right, real quick. The PayPal chart, it got butchered today. The options, everybody fled. So I shouldn't say everybody, but the options were down 55% at one point today. So I would say that all the short-term traders are gone. They're washed out. They washed out probably in the first half an hour of the day. So say goodbye to them. All right, CLSK, that's a fun one. All right, I've seen that coming up a bunch in chat. Let's see here. All right, let's get back to the fun stuff now. I bought more 2025. So did I, brother. Thank you. Thank you very much. All right, let me see here. I got to make it to where I can actually read this. I got to fix my screens. I got this huge screen, but I still can't see anything because I got things awkwardly placed. Crossroads, what's up? Sorry for going off, man. I try not to do that. I can't help it, though. I'm an emotional person. All right, so CLSK, beautiful day. All the miners today crushing it. And it's up. CleanSpark's up 7.62 in after hours. You're shitting me. All right, so that's up 20% in a day. All right, well, Lauren, I hope that works out. I hope the averaging down does it. I'm setting my targets lower. I should actually, let's go back real quick here. So if you'll look here on my chart, I've updated this. I am not looking for, thank you very much. That's very kind. I'm looking for a lot less than I was looking for before. Before I was up here to the .618 at 191. My expectations are much, much lower. I'm looking for an 84% increase from where we're at between now and hopefully July, August. If that happens, if between 4 to 6 months from now we get to those numbers, I make $2.5 to $1.4 million and I'm happy. And frankly, I might even exit before that if they don't do what I want them to do. But I have a lot of faith that they can. And again, coming from a world of software, it might not sound exciting what he's talking about. And he might not be the best person. He's definitely not Alex Karp. But I will say this. Alex Karp was hated by half the Palantir community, if not more, a year and a half ago. And now people are like, he's a god. Look how wonderful he is. I wish Alex Chris was like Alex Karp. So ignore people's narratives and the bullshit. Listen to the signal. Ignore the noise. And now I'm done. I'm going back to CleanSpark. I apologize. All right. So again, I don't know what happened with these guys. Is it earnings day today? Is that what I'm forgetting? They must have done all right 35 minutes ago. I haven't pulled it up. That's why you guys kept yelling CleanSpark in chat, huh? Because I'm missing earnings. Let me check something real quick here. Let me see if I can find this. I don't know if this is going to be updated yet, but we're going to see. Let's see here. Q3. No, it's not updated. Let me see if I can find. Well, either way, if I don't pull it up here, I can make a separate video about it. But I would say that there is a decent chance they outperformed, judging by the after hours price. And I mean, it helps that Bitcoin's going up. Let's just look at that real quick. So we kind of skipped some of the altcoin and stuff. Bitcoin, juggernaut today. Again, it saved my ass. I was expecting to be down $200,000 today. That was what I expected for the day. And, oh, earnings call right now? Should I see if I can get into the earnings call? 1 second here. Webcast. All right. Maybe we just do this. 1 second. Oh, let me get into there first. I can do it. If you guys are cool with an earnings call, I'm cool with an earnings call. I kind of want to see what's happening here. Yes. Okay, cool. Let's do it. Register for event. Let's see.
Relationship with the City of Dalton, which owns and operates its own utility. We are currently the city's only interruptible load customer, meaning we have signed an agreement that in the case of a grid emergency, we will shut off,
Can you guys hear
making
this?
the power we use available to other grid users. We earn a fixed power credit for performing the service, which supports the grid and its stability. We view this as a best-in-class partnership and as an example of some of the creative ways that Bitcoin miners are working with utilities to improve grid performance, even in regulated markets like Georgia. We expect the Dalton 2 site to start hashing this coming April. In addition to the Dalton expansion, we are marking a significant milestone by venturing into new territory with the acquisition of 3 sites in Mississippi. Mississippi is a logical place for us to expand given our familiarity with the energy landscape in the southern United States. The expansion not only diversifies our operational footprint, but also enhances our resiliency and capacity for innovation. Our Mississippi expansion consists of 3 turnkey acquisitions. 2 acquisitions are in central Mississippi, along the I-20, one in the Delta in Vicksburg, and another in the Pines in Meridian. The 3rd campus is in southern Mississippi in Wiggins. These 3 campuses draw power from 2 utilities. One is Mississippi Power, which is a sister company to Georgia Power and is owned by Southern Company. The second utility is Entergy. All the acquired sites come with a favorable, fixed 5-year power purchase agreements and an all-in power cost in the 5-cent range. We expect to formally close the purchase before the end of February. We will immediately begin racking our own machines, which will start hashing just as soon as they are plugged in. The combined hash rate in Mississippi will be about 2.4 exahash per second, or just over 10% of our operations once we reach our 20 exahash per second milestone. Already, our deployment teams are finalizing plans, including staffing and hiring, property improvements, community relations, and other core initiatives that have come to be part of what we call the CleanSpark Way. We are confident in our ability to execute in this new environment and look forward to passing these gains on to our shareholders. Looking ahead, the next time we discuss our financial results with you will be May. The halving event will have passed. We view the halving event as an important moment, and I'd like to take a moment to discuss how we believe it will impact our operations. The most obvious impact is that the block award will be cut in half. Our margins are in an excellent place to navigate this halving, as last quarter we mined at greater than 60% margins. Our cost to mine are industry leading, and we are prepared for this momentary drop. I say momentary because it is not exactly true that our production will be cut in half. While it is true the block rewards are halved, we also anticipate a 15 to 30% drop in the overall hash rate, which means our share of global hash rate will grow without any additional cost on our part. This is a naturally accretive moment for a miner of our scale. As we approach the Bitcoin halving event, we anticipate a significant shift in the mining landscape. The halving will naturally phase out less efficient miners, allowing CleanSpark to increase its share of the global hash rate. This organic growth in market share means we can capture a larger portion of Bitcoin rewards without additional infrastructure investments, leading to enhanced returns for our shareholders. This strategic advantage highlights our commitment to efficiency and positions us favorably for sustained growth in a post-halving environment. This scenario is only possible because of our obsession with preparation. Our focus on efficiency will continue to drive down our production cost, especially when paired with our best-in-class power rates. Furthermore, this halving is not just a challenge, but a catalyst for positive price action in Bitcoin. I'd like to conclude with a few additional considerations that make us different amongst our peers and the broader market opportunities as they relate to Bitcoin. With the approval of the ETFs and the parade of miners going public over the past few years, investors have a lot of options for how they invest in this extraordinary industry. Our differentiation lies in our strategic approach to energy and geography, leveraging a low-cost active power management strategy. Our mining rigs are among the most efficient, and our infrastructure and scale, wholly owned and operated by us, sets us apart. Our cost to mine remains amongst the industry's lowest, providing a stark contrast to our competitors, especially when compared to the cost to acquire Bitcoin directly versus ETFs, which must purchase the Bitcoin at spot market prices. As I've said numerous times before, Bitcoin is critical technology for our digital age. It is both a powerful commodity and a transformation in the history of money. This fact can sometimes get lost, but we believe the true value of Bitcoin, the reason for its adoption by millions of people, and the reason for its consistent price appreciation lies in Bitcoin's fundamentals. It is digital money for a digital age, which the history books will one day show is only just beginning.
Weird.
I want to take a moment to thank our shareholders for their continued support. I would like to thank our incredible team, especially our teams in Sandersville. The work accomplished this quarter has set new standards for the industry, and it's all thanks to our dedicated employees. Your hard work and commitment have not gone unnoticed. Now I'll hand it over to Gary to delve deeper into our financials and provide a detailed outlook for the coming quarters.
Thank you, Zach. As Zach mentioned, our first fiscal quarter was record-setting for CleanSpark. Let's dive directly into the numbers, which I'm excited to share with you. Diving right into the numbers, our revenues for the quarter were $73.8 million, an increase of $46 million, or 165% over the same quarter last year. This increase was primarily driven by the increase in our Bitcoin production and an overall increase in average Bitcoin price. This quarter, we produced 32% more Bitcoin compared to the same quarter last year. It is also important to note that this quarter, the average Bitcoin price was a little over 36,000.
All right, I'm back. It's off. Sorry the audio wasn't good. I haven't had any problems with that. Oh, this is weird. All right, let me get over here. All right, second. I'm going to just adjust something here. Green. Why? This isn't shrinking. There we go. Okay. God, that's strange. Okay. All right, let me fix this. Get this sized right so I can see what I'm doing. All right. Still learning. All right, back to charts. What do you guys want to look at? Yeah, this guy is so good. He's a great CEO. They're all